The unique combination of entrepreneurial spirit, contribution, and gratitude that we find in social entrepreneurs around the world is often formed by early life influences. In this journey of gratitude, Gratitude Fellow Ajit Sivaram shares the influence that his parents had on him and how it has supercharged his journey to impact hundreds of thousands of children across India. Who influenced you the most? Think about it as you watch Ajit's amazing journey.
Hi, I'm Ajit. I'm one of the co-founders of You and I with Satish. I grew up in a fairly middle-class Indian family, and a majority of my dad's side of the family were all from the tech space. And this is in late 70s, early 80s, when IBM first came to India. Dad was part of it. I was pretty much the only one in our entire family who chose not to get a tech job, which in living in Bangalore or South India is very rare. My mom and both my parents always serve voluntarily in so many different ways. So I think that set a great example. So yeah. And that was pretty much how my journey into volunteering and all of that started. My grandmom had started an orphanage. My mom helped run that later on in her life. So having those examples, and also my dad would volunteer every weekend, would serve in so many different capacities. So I think just that really said, hey, it's okay not to be that. I think I was driving to college. My dad was dropping me off to college one day, and we were having this discussion on what do I want to become. And I had been through every option. One day a doctor, next day a journalist, the next day a lawyer. So I told him, hey, Dad, I'm thinking of going to Sydney and studying a course in leadership and serving leadership, which nobody had heard of in a college that was nondescript. And the only thing he told me this was, he said, hey, if you want to do this, we will support you 100%, but I want you to stick with it. And I think just that, him saying, hey, go for it, but stick with it, was, I think, one of those moments that stood out to me, saying, would love this. So I did a degree in history from a college called Stephens in Delhi, and then went to Sydney and did an advanced diploma in theology and leadership. And I think that was the course that sort of was really transformed me. And I think I went in there with two ideas that, hey, I really want to be able to serve people, but didn't know how. There did a lot of youth work with people from low-income backgrounds, and that really challenged me. So when I came back to India, I was very clear that I wanted to work with young people and empower young people really to find purpose, to find meaning, and to be able to live more fulfilling lives. Today, in India, access to education is no more a problem. About 95% of kids in India, so that's 95 out of every 100 students, will have access to education and will enroll in a school at some point. The issue is that after enrolling in primary school, very few students actually make it to middle school, high school, and actually getting to year 10, year 12. And unless you actually get to year 12, you're not going to get any decent paying job or it's very difficult to get a decent paying job. So we saw that kids were dropping out of school, and that was the real challenge. And they dropped out for multiple reasons. The quality of teaching in a school. Second is just access to resources, access to role models. Everyone in my community, has dropped out of school, so I would also drop out of school, right? So that was the problem we were seeing. So You and I at its heart is a volunteer-driven community that works on different problems, whether it's education or environment, and chooses to solve that and address that with the average person being involved. So we have two programs essentially that are our core programs today. Number one is our after-school tutoring program. We call that You and I Teach. So there we have 5,000 You and I volunteers who volunteer for an entire academic year, and they go teach 5,000 students from lower economic backgrounds. So think of it like an after-school tutoring program. We have about 120 centers across India and in 40 cities where they go and they tutor them, 2 to 3 times a week. So that's the first program we have, called You and I Teach. The second one's called You and I Empower, and that's our wider program where we're trying to get as many people across India to volunteer in spaces whether it's environment, doing a beach cleanup, doing a lake cleanup, cleaning up your neighborhood, so many different ways. So we've had over 100,000 volunteers volunteer short-term projects there. Since the gratitude program, we've almost doubled our numbers in terms of number of volunteers and number of students reached and impacted. We work with this year, looking to work with 5,000 volunteers, impacting about 5,000 students in about 40 cities. So we have about 120 to 30 learning centers this year that we're going to be working with. We went through the gratitude program 2020, 2021. For 90% of nonprofits in India, if you ask them what that year was like, it was chaos, right? And I think we were impacting about maybe 2,000 kids at that point in about 15, 20 cities. So I think having a coach at that point from gratitude was critical because everything was fluid, right? Every month there was a new wave, there was a new problem. So having a coach for both Satish and I to sit down and spend time with was so valuable. So Chris Hunt was our coach. I think he was incredibly valuable. Our time with him, he used to ask us a lot of deep, tough questions. Not easy at all, but very valuable. For us, the Gratitude Fellowship has been a source of not just inspiration. I think inspiration is good to have, but I think honestly like a guide. Even till today, the monthly emails of, hey, these are funding opportunities. These are the amount of investment you all have given into all of us has really helped. The fact that like a lot of the trainings today is not just for the fellow, but for the organization, I'm able to extend that resource because there is no way for a small nonprofit in India to have access to, the best coaching out there. I think two things. One is we definitely want to see volunteering grow. We see the power of volunteering. We see the power of people serving. And I think we've used that lever well in the first decade and a half. The second one is I think we're on the cusp of AI, right? And any tech revolution, who gets left behind is the least of these, the people who have least access to it. So we want to see if a human plus an AI can tutor a kid better and can give them all the help they need to break out of poverty. The social impact space is always resource constrained, right? We're always trying to do 10 things with 2 resources. So AI sort of exponentially helps one person do more with their 8 hours a day. And I think that is tremendously helpful. So right from whether it's writing a proposal to, building a coaching bot for a volunteer, giving everyone equal access to knowledge and wisdom across 40 cities where we don't have to have physically people there. That I think is a huge potential for the future. For me, it's always been about the people, right? And that's why the name You and I, it's, hey, can the average person, can the you and the I give back? And I think as long as people are growing, as long as we're seeing people leading full lives with purpose, that's always been the win.